Join me as I share an amazing train relic from the 1800s and start to unravel its history. These are my stories from the signal. Several years ago, I was detecting in a local stream and I had found this item. It was very near to where I found the 32 mystery items featured in a previous video. I was 90% certain at the time that I knew what it was, but it was way too heavy, and I knew if I removed it from the stream, once it hit the air, it would start rusting. So I left it. I got back in the stream this past summer, specifically to re-find this item, with the intention of donating it to the Cumberland County Historical Society. I searched for maybe an hour and a half. It was a little further upstream from where I thought it was. I did find some other iron there, including what felt like a large iron spring of some type. It was fused to the bedrock and unable to be removed by me at that time. Well, I'm no expert on train relics, but I'm 90% certain I know what this is. I've seen it referred to as either a train coupling loop, a train car coupler, or a link and pin coupler. It was pulled from the Yellow Breeches in Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, at a point where there is a set of train tracks running parallel. This is what it looked like when I pulled it out. It had some rusting, a bit of mud, and some stones were fused to it. When I got it home, I put it in a bucket of water to prevent it from rusting further. To clean this item, as lightly as possible, I knocked off the rocks with a hammer and chisel, soaked it in rust remover, and used a brush along with the remover to get off the remaining rust. I then baked it completely dry and then applied beeswax. These would have been used from the mid to late 1800s. At the time, one of the brakeman's responsibilities, besides running on top of the moving cars and applying brakes, would have been to couple the train cars. This iron loop would have been inserted into a receptor on one car and pinned in place. The engine would have been used to push the two cars together, and the brakeman would have to align this roughly 10-pound loop and pin it in place. This was a very dangerous job. Many brakemen would lose fingers, hands, or even their lives. Experienced old-time railroad workers could be identified by the loss of fingers. There were no standards for these coupling loops, thus not all loops would fit into all receptors. Brakemen reportedly hoarded the loops, knowing that they would need different varieties depending on the cars to be coupled. Some brakemen would steal and sell them for scrap metal. When you look at this one example and how bent it is, you can only imagine it wasn't lined up quite right while the engine was pushing the cars together, or perhaps it didn't fit the receptor on one of the train cars. As usual, when I'm holding a piece of history such as this, I try to put myself in the shoes of the person who used it. The brakeman aligning this loop would have had very dirty and calloused hands. The weight of the loop would have made it difficult to get it aligned just right. I hope as the car collided with this loop that the brakeman got his fingers out of the way. It would have required tons of pressure to bend this, and to be so close when that happened would have been frightening to say the least. In as early as 1887, these loops had stopped being used because safer automatic locking couplers were in use. By 1898, they were no longer allowed in use on mainline railroads as outlined in the Railway Safety Appliance Act of 1893. I still want to learn more about this piece and expand upon its story. I will be getting back into that stream this summer to hopefully find more clues, maybe some related items. I'm also going to donate this to the Cumberland County Historical Society. They are planning a train exhibit in 2023 that would be a perfect home for this locally found relic. Perhaps they can help me add to this story, or perhaps the future story of this coupler will be enriched simply by being on display and further educating us what life was like for those who came before us.